despite a recent hike, persistently low prices have been a boon for the airline industry. And one U.S. carrier has been particularly successful in making the most of this trend. Hawaiian Airlines has seen its profit double in the first quarter. Solid demand for travel to Hawaii and industry capacity growth also contributing factors here. The company also retained its position as the most punctual airline in the U.S. 92% of its flights touch down on time, and that's compared with an industry average of 84%. The airline is increasing its services to Tokyo, adding more flights to Haneda International Airport. Let's get more with Hawaiian Airlines CEO Mark Dunkerley. Mark, thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, Mark, a blowout quarter for you. Hawaiian Airlines reporting a profit of $51.5 million, up from $25.9 million same quarter last year. That's an almost 100% increase. What do you attribute that to?
Well, there are a number of things. I mean, obviously, the low price of oil plays an enormous role in helping our bottom line, but so too does the fact that demand has been really very robust for all of the geographies that we serve, and competitor capacity has been pretty balanced in the main, and so these factors combine to generate some excellent results for us.
Well, Mark, to your point, lower oil has been helping airlines' bottom lines across the industry. As we know, there's been a huge drop in oil. It's down 62% from its June high in 2014. But there's been no significant reduction in airline ticket prices. And there are a lot of complaints that industry-wide, these lower costs have not been passed on to consumers. What do you say to that?
Well, ticket prices are always set by the interplay of supply and demand. During times of rising fuel prices, that generally comes at the cost of airlines and their shareholders. When price of oil comes down, so long as demand stays pretty robust, and then you've got that as a sort of constant, and then you've got to figure out where does supply end up. And fares have actually come down over it, but by not as much as the price of oil. And it's really the nature of a competitive marketplace.
All right, supply and demand, let's keep it on fossil fuels, and yours is the first airline to have received verified carbon credits for reducing emissions. The airline industry, as you know, needs to agree on global standards for carbon emissions, and the International Civil Aviation Organization will be meeting in September to try to agree a market-based mechanism for capping and trading CO2 emissions. What are your expectations there?
Well, I think everybody in the industry would like to see a system for managing the greenhouse gases that are emitted from aircraft. I mean, the question, and an important question, is, how will this be applied? Will it be applied fairly so that regardless of which part of the globe you're in, you're operating under the same rules? And right now, the industry is trying to negotiate out a system that we all can live with and feel is fair, and we hope that to be able to take that to ICAO, and ICAO, the government bodies, would likewise agree.
Mark, this will most likely increase airlines' costs. Do you anticipate this then trickling down to the consumer?
I mean, I think it will at some point, but again, just as I said a little bit earlier in the interview, it's more a question of supply and demand. I think what will happen is that over time that'll affect supply and constrain supply, and that's probably the mechanism by which whatever costs might be directly imposed would be recaptured.
Well, speaking of supply, in 2014, Hawaiian Airlines increased its supply to China, launching direct flights from Honolulu to China. That was a big bet on the Chinese tourist interest in Hawaii. Has that paid off?
Yeah, I think it has, and it is still paying off in the sense that Hawaii as a destination is not as well known in China as it is perhaps in some other Asian economies. And so there's still quite a bit of work that we have to do here in Hawaii to help educate the Chinese consumer as to why Hawaii is a special place that it is. We've seen pretty good growth in demand, but we know that there's a lot more to come, and that job rests squarely on our shoulders.
And are you concerned with the growth slowdown as China's economy rebalances?
In our case, not really. Again, we operate 3 times a week, Honolulu to Beijing. It's a modest level of service for a country as large as China. So we're not yet sort of full participants in the Chinese economic cycle. We anticipate we will be. We think that the Chinese visitor to Hawaii will be the largest visitor group here in Hawaii before too long. When that happens, we might have some more sensitivity to China's economic cycle, but at the moment it's been pretty muted.
All right, well, there are some headwinds. Hawaiian Airlines unit of the Airline Pilots Association planning on striking on Monday. They're saying they're seeking equal compensation to their counterparts at other carriers, claiming Hawaiian pays 45% less than some other airlines. What's your response to that?
Well, first of all, they can't strike. I mean, under the laws of the United States in the airline industry, when you're in federal mediation, as we are now, they're not permitted to strike, and we're not permitted to change their working conditions. So negotiations are ongoing while we try and reach a new agreement. The truth of the matter is that in terms of wage pay, they are below some of other carriers, but at the same time, the value of the benefits and the work rules that they work under at Hawaiian Airlines are vastly richer than those at other airlines. And at the moment, we're just in negotiations, looking at the whole package and trying to come to an accommodation that meets their needs and obviously the economics of our company.
Well, you're certainly doing something very right. Hawaiian Airlines consistently on the top of the 10 most punctual, most on-time performance airlines. What do you attribute that to? Well,
first of all, I attribute it to the terrific colleagues I have in the business. We have wonderful employees. They work super hard. They deliver great customer service. And even in the more technical aspects, like getting airplanes away on time, they excel, and we put a lot of effort into that. We know that for the vast majority of customers, their expectations are to be able to fly safely, to be able to depart on time, and to arrive with their luggage, and to be treated as the guests that they really are on our airline. And it's really down to the hard work of the people in our company that makes that happen for us.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much, Mark Dunkerley, CEO of Hawaiian Airlines.